All right, welcome back, everyone. We're diving into some breaking news today, straight from CBS News. It's about the Russia-Ukraine war, obviously a situation that's been, it's been pretty tense for a while now.
Yeah, no kidding. This new development, though, it's really got people talking. We're talking
Yeah.
about Trump back in the White House, and first thing, pretty much, he's on the phone with Putin.
First call since he got back in office, right?
Exactly, yeah. And right after that call, boom, he tells his whole national security team, get those peace negotiations going, like, now.
Immediately, the report says. Not even, give me a briefing first or let's strategize, just straight to negotiations. So what do you think? What was said on that call that made him jump into peace talks so fast?
Well, it's hard to say for sure. The report mentions they talk about a whole bunch of stuff, Ukraine, of course, but then the Middle East, energy, even AI, and like the power of the dollar, all sorts of things.
Wow, sounds like they covered a lot of ground. I mean, that's a lot for one phone call. So do you think this is Trump being genuine, wanting peace, or is it, maybe him just wanting to look decisive, make a splash?
Could be a bit of both, honestly. Some people are saying it shows he's serious about ending the war. Others think it's more about grabbing headlines. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I get it. So about these peace talks, he's put together this team, right? Secretary of State, that's Rubio now. Then you have Ratcliffe, he's CIA director, plus Waltz is national security advisor, and Witkoff, the Middle East envoy. Quite the group.
It's a mix, that's for sure. You got some real foreign policy veterans in there, like Rubio, but then some who, well, they're known for taking a harder line, like Ratcliffe. Be interesting to see how they work together.
Especially with what Defense Secretary Hegseth said, right? Seems like he kind of threw some cold water on the whole thing, saying, no way Ukraine's joining NATO, and going back to pre-2014 borders, that's unrealistic, he said.
Yeah, not exactly a promising start to negotiations, is it? And what's interesting is Hegseth's comments, they kind of line up with stuff Trump himself has said before. About Ukraine maybe ending up part of Russia someday.
So are they, like, taking Russia's side here, or are they just being realistic, given how things are going? I mean, a lot of people are worried about this.
Definitely a lot of concern. And then there's the whole issue of U.S. aid to Ukraine. We know Trump's always been against giving them too much.
Right, and now he's saying, well, the aid might depend on Ukraine giving the U.S. access to all those rare earth minerals they have. He even put a number on it, $500 billion worth of minerals for U.S. support.
Yeah, that's a bold move. Some might say it's smart, good business. Others would say it's taking advantage of a country that's, well, let's face it, they're in a really tough spot right now.
It does make you wonder what his real goal is here with these peace talks. But hey, Zelensky, he talked to Trump too after that Putin call.
He did, and his statement after, it was kind of powerful. He said, nobody wants peace more than Ukraine. Just reminding everyone who's really paying the price for this war.
Absolutely. And Zelensky is supposed to be meeting with VP Vance soon at that security conference in Munich. Think we'll learn anything more from that about where Ukraine stands going into these talks.
So that's definitely going to be a meeting to watch for sure. Zelensky, he's got a tough job. He needs the war to end, obviously, but he can't just accept any deal. He's got to protect Ukraine, make sure they keep their land, their independence. That talk with Vance could be really important for figuring out their strategy.
It's like we're at this turning point now, but it's so hard to say what'll happen next. There's so much going on, so many different people involved.
It's definitely complicated. And, while all these big, important people are talking and making plans, there's real people in Ukraine, like, living through this war every day.
Yeah, that's true. Easy to forget sometimes when you're talking about strategy and stuff, but those people, they've lost so much. I mean, thousands dead, millions have had to leave their homes, and the whole country's been, well, it's been devastated.
Exactly. It's not just some political game. This war, it has real consequences for real people.
Yeah.
And not just in Ukraine either.
Right, like the whole world's been affected. Energy prices going crazy, food shortages, even like the risk of nuclear war feels higher now. It's scary how connected everything is.
Really shows you. Yeah. So, thinking about these peace talks, where do we go from here? It seems impossible that everyone's going to get what they want, right? What do you think? What are the most likely outcomes? Well, compromise is going to be key, that's for sure. If anyone's going to get anything out of this, they got to be willing to give something up. To figure out what those compromises might be, we got to look at what each side wants, what their goals are. Let's start with Trump. Based on what we know about him, what do you think he's hoping to get out of this?
Well, he said many times he thinks this war is costing the U.S. way too much. Money, resources, everything. And he wants to bring the troops home. That's clear. Plus, we know he likes to, how do I put it? He likes to make deals, like that thing with the rare earth minerals. That's a pretty clear example. So I think he wants this whole thing over with fast, get a win, move on. Do you think Putin wants the same thing, though? I mean, he's been all over the place with what he says he wants.
Yeah, he has. At first, it seemed like he wanted to just take over Ukraine completely, like change the whole government there. But, well, that didn't work out so well, did it?
Nope. Ukrainians fought back way harder than anyone expected, and now this war's dragged on way longer than I think Putin thought it would. It's costing him a lot. Soldiers, money, and then all those sanctions from the West.
It's definitely not going how he planned.
Mm.
So now maybe he's just looking for a way to get out of this without looking weak, Get something he can call a victory, even if it's not what he wanted at the beginning.
So, like, maybe he'd take some land in eastern Ukraine, or maybe he'd settle for a promise that Ukraine won't join NATO.
Could be. But then there's the Ukrainians themselves, right? They're the ones who've been hurt the most by all this. Well, what do they want?
Well, Zelensky's been pretty clear their main role is to get their whole country back, all of it, including Crimea, and they want Russia to be held responsible for what they did. They've been so strong, so determined. I don't see them giving up on that.
Yeah, you're right. They've shown incredible strength, and they've got a lot of support from other countries. So as you can see, it's a mess. Lots of different sides, all wanting different things, and none of them really lining up. Hard to imagine anyone being totally happy with whatever deal comes out of this.
It's like trying to balance on a tightrope. And even if they do make a deal, what then? Ukraine's been destroyed. Rebuilding that's going to be a huge job, and the damage from this war, it's going to last for generations. I can't even imagine, trying to rebuild your whole country after something like this. But I guess that's what these peace talks, that's what they offer, right? A chance to like start over, try to heal.
Yeah, got to hold on to that hope. But you're right, rebuilding after a war like this, it's not just about buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot deeper than that. It's going to take a long time, and Ukraine can't do it alone. They'll need help from everyone.
And it's not just the physical stuff either, right? There's going to be so much like emotional damage too. People have been through so much. It's going to leave some scars.
Oh, absolutely. Wars, they do that.
Yeah.
They change people, change how they see the world, how they see each other.
Yeah.
Ukraine's going to have to deal with that too if they want to truly move on.
Yeah, it's a lot, but they've been through so much already, and they've been so strong. I really believe they'll find a way. Makes me think, though, about the bigger picture. Even if these talks work, how is this whole thing going to change the world? I mean, long term.
That's the big question, isn't it? I think one thing's for sure. It's going to change who has power, globally. We can already see that happening. Russia and the West, they're further apart than ever. But then you have Russia and China. They're getting closer.
So it's not just going back to how it was before, like the Cold War.
No, it's different. Now it's like multiple groups all vying for power. That's going to change how everything works. From, I don't know, climate change to trade to, well, even things like cyber attacks and nuclear weapons. It all gets more complicated.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to think about. And it feels like this war, it's just sped everything up, pushed us into this whole new, uncertain world.
Definitely been a catalyst, that's for sure. And going forward, we got to be aware of that. These changes are happening, and we got to think about what they mean, what the consequences could be.
So we've covered a lot today. We talked about Trump pushing for peace, what that might mean for Ukraine, for Russia, for everyone, really. And we talked about the long-term impact, how this war could reshape the whole world. As we wrap up here, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
The main thing is this whole situation, it's still changing. There's so much we don't know yet, so many ways this could go. But the decisions these leaders make in the next few weeks, few months, those decisions are going to have a huge impact on a lot of people, not just in Ukraine, but everywhere. Yeah. This is important, what's happening, and we all need to pay attention, stay informed, and hold our leaders accountable.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And to everyone listening, please keep learning about this, keep asking questions, and don't forget about the people of Ukraine, because what happens to them, what happens to their country, it affects all of us one way or another. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.